This is big news. I found this post on Reddit. Apparently, an REI member got a notice from REI. It says the following: Hello, REI member. REI recently updated part of its return policy. To ensure every return is handled with fairness, REI will no longer accept returns if there has been a past abuse of our policy. We're going to go check out the actual policy there. When we reviewed your account, we found that the number and frequency of returns you have made far exceeds what we typically see from members. While we stand behind the gear we sell and recognize that we don't always get it right, we noticed that this was an established pattern rather than an isolated event. Beginning on November 6th, you will no longer be eligible to make returns or exchanges with REI. You may still make purchases, but any purchases made on or after November 6th will not be eligible for return or exchange. If you attempt to make a return or exchange, your items will be refused and or mailed back to you. Please understand that this status is not determined by our stores or customer support teams, and they cannot change it. If you have any questions or concerns, please direct them to policystandards@rei.com. So this is from REI Policy Standards. I have very good reason to believe this is an actual thing. REI, if you didn't know, was suffering substantial losses, and that is a totally different topic for maybe another video, which I probably will not get into. For full disclosure, I am a huge REI fan. I have been since I became a member and found out about them when I first went on my backpacking trip out to Mount Whitney in summer. Also a different story for a different time, but I have recently become an REI affiliate as of last year, and I'm a big fan. I just want to share that I am an REI affiliate. So I love REI, and I think this is inevitable. We've seen this across the board for other places that have amazing satisfaction guarantees. Costco included. Costco used to have lifetime. They had to get rid of it. Now you want to keep your returns under 1 year. And if it's any electronic items such as TVs, laptops, and things like that, they had to cap it at 90 days. So keep in mind that supposedly this is affecting, according to some of these posts here, about 5,000 to 6,000 or 5,000 some members that got this email. So they have, let's see, up to November 6th. Okay, they have up to November 6th to buy stuff before these policies and be able to return it until these policies take effect. So I imagine there's probably going to be a lot of sales to these members up to November 6th if they got no shame anyways. And if you go to the resupply section of an REI, or if you've ever been to one, you will see why. There are a ridiculous amount of returns of certain items. I think people who buy a lot of shoes completely wear them out and then return them for a full refund. That is absolutely insane and ridiculous. Granted, some of this is part of REI's own doing with the whole satisfaction guarantee. Part of what they try to sell you on the membership is that you get a lifetime satisfaction guarantee. And what that means is if you're not satisfied with the item, you can return it. Granted, some people wear the heck out of these shoes and say they're not satisfied and then return it, and that just isn't going to fly. REI apparently is hemorrhaging money. Okay, this is one of the reasons why they're hemorrhaging money. And it was just inevitable. Now, you have been put on notice. You watching this video, if you're an REI member, you've been put on notice that they're cutting back on this type of crap. Now, I do buy a lot from REI, and I also do return. I'm pretty sure that I will not get this email because I buy way more than I return. Now, this person that posted, this original person who obviously is anonymous, Friendly Dance 6237, believes that they don't feel like they've abused the policy. And I think everybody has a different idea of what is abuse. So I think that if you buy 5 pairs of shoes and you only keep one, and you try out all the other shoes, now REI has to take a loss and knock off 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% off of the price to put those shoes back out there to sell. And I think that's abuse, right? It could very well be. Now, hopefully, REI's new message now is saying, look, it's best if you try out the shoes and don't buy them. That's what I often tell people to do, right? If you don't know about the size, and as I say this, I have actually purchased some Birkenstocks, and it says size 10. I did the conversion from the European to size 10. I looked at all the conversion charts. All right, it says that I should be a size 43. So I ordered 43. Turns out it's too big. And you can't get around that because the Birkenstocks, the whole idea is that it molds to your foot. And there's already pre-molding on there that is the cork that molds your foot. So it's great. It feels like great orthotics. So I'm going to have to return them. And obviously that's going to count towards the stuff that I return. Now, I don't know if it is about the quantity or the actual revenue, positive, negative, whatever, total of the price and the amount. I don't know. It could very well be they're using a similar system that they used over at Best Buy for a period of time. I remember Best Buy used to ask for my ID, and then they scanned the dang thing. And then I guess I put in some sort of database, and that annoyed me for a while. So I actually didn't purchase a lot of things from Best Buy after that. I just simply didn't like that they were doing that. And that's just me personally. I'm sure a lot of people, it felt like it affected a lot of people as well. But look, Best Buy's still around. And I actually had a recent positive experience with Best Buy. So we'll see how this turns out. There's going to be a lot of backlash. Maybe they will change this around. But this is very good to know. Okay, so someone reported that it only affects maybe about 5,000 or so people from their local store manager. And it's really going to be very interesting to see how all this pans out. And if look, someone says, the first person says they're all mixed in. So this person that got the ban email, it's not me. It would have been interesting if it was me, because I would say that it's totally unfair, because I purchased literally hundreds of items from REI the past year. Literally. Yeah, they have a lot of my money. It says, from what they came up with past 2 years, they returned 10 items that were used and 9 items that were brand new tags on. So that's 19 items. So return 2+ years, return 10 items that were used and 9 items that were brand new tags on. And they were probably shoes. Let's see. I'll have a link to this whole Reddit post so that you can get an idea. But my feeling is it's the shoes. Absolutely nuts. My REI over in Saratoga, it's actually down in San Jose, West San Jose. They used to have a whole separate section for the used items. And I go in there and there's got to be like 500 pairs of shoes there. And I'm sure eventually if they didn't sell, they would just donate them or trash them or something, because that was way, way too many shoes that were there. So I'm thinking a big part of this is the shoes. But they also said they bought and kept loads this year. They kept the $400 Garmin watch, $300 sleeping pad, 4 pairs of Ultras, $200 in free dried meals, $200 Solomon running bag, Patagonia duffel, $300 in clothes, gels, jet boil fuel, $100 water fuel. I kept way more than I've returned. Let's see. Abusing the policy, turning pair of shoes 300 miles, returning again, something clear used 11 months out, then buying them again. I also have a feeling, okay, so I read also in here that at certain REIs, what they do is they don't, just for customer service reasons, they don't do necessarily a full inspection in certain REIs. They just take what you say, put it in a little note, and then put it in a bin to be evaluated later. So if you return something you say that is brand new, they actually look over it again just to double check that it was in fact new or used, and evaluate it just to make sure that it could be sold as and labeled appropriately. But then another store says, no, not at our store. We actually do take a look at them. So I'm thinking this is all relatively not universally enforced over at different REIs. So maybe they all have a little bit of autonomy in terms of how they're getting these returns done and evaluated. I will say the times that I returned something used or something that, not returning something used, but returning a brand new item that I purchased that was user defective, they immediately put a tag on it. And I presume that it could either be going back to the manufacturer for destruction or to be sold on resupply. So I'm not sure, because some things I return are things that maybe some people really want. They put a nice discount on it, like things that are not normally discounted. And the times that I gone back to check out the resupply, that's usually one of the first places I check out when I go in an REI, because there's great deals to be done for a lot of times lightly used certain things. Okay. I didn't see it again. So yeah, sometimes I don't know what really happened. There's a lot of discussion about this, about how to get out. I think there's only one thing that everyone can say in common is, look, try to be a good person. Don't return things. Some people feel like returning 19 items is pretty crazy. Someone says, as an REI cashier, 9 items per year is not a crazy amount for a frequent shopper. It's really tough to say. So I feel like I buy a lot of things, and probably because I also buy a lot of things, I'm probably also going to return a lot of things. And I'm just curious if I will also get such an email eventually. But yeah, I'm just thinking back within the past year. Have I returned 19 things for the past 2 years? No, I have not returned 19 things. I don't quite meet the threshold that this original poster set. I might have returned maybe like 10 things. Maybe over the course of 2 years. For me, I don't feel like that's that much. But I'm always accurate in when I return something. So I'm sure there's a different category. If you happen to get a defective item, doesn't count against you. But then if you end up buying a lot of defective items, then maybe you'll get affected. So I'm really curious if anybody that is watching this video has too also gotten this. And if you're willing to share generally what you've purchased and what you've returned, and whether or not it was defective, or whether or not you were just trying it out and didn't mean to keep it to begin with, I'd be very curious to hear about that. I know for myself, when the Apple Vision Pro came out, obviously you don't sell this at REI, but when the Apple Vision Pro came out, I was really sold on how awesome and amazing it was just from the marketing, right? Just like a lot of people. And you want to try it out. Sure, it was like $4 grand, $5 grand for the model that I had wanted. It was just ridiculously expensive. Yeah, I returned that. Yep. In fact, I was just thinking if there's any new updates, I might actually try it again. And if it doesn't meet up to the expectations, I might actually return something like that a second time. I think Apple might ban me for this, but if they just look at the amount of Apple devices I've purchased over my lifetime, which has got to be like 20 something Apple devices, even still linked to me, then they will see that I am definitely a fan of their products and definitely do not like to return things over there. And I'm hoping that REI has the same metrics there. Now, what is interesting about this is that it says somewhere in the policy saying that, look, this is not up to the store manager. They don't have any control about it, and it's not up to the store. If you get this email, this is going to be a flag on you specifically. It's going to be a flag on you. I know I'm an REI affiliate. I told you that already. It's going to affect all REI members. Now, there's another shop that I actually shop at here in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's called Sports Basement. And I, too, also buy a lot of used stuff over there. I actually don't return that much over there because part of it is because I'm buying something used, and they already tell you that when you buy something used, and I buy a lot of used things there because they have a lot of basement deals and they offer trade-ins just like REI, and they offer nice discounts. And generally, when you're dealing with people, they're pretty nice. So I've had decently good experiences with them. There was this one thing that I take issue with was that as being part of a member, and what part of sold me about their membership was not just that they give you the 10% off any item that you get in there. I'm sorry that this is not REI related, but it's similar. Was that they highly advertise that if you buy their propane tanks, their refillable propane, that you get free propane for life, right? Free propane for life. So I did. I bought a bunch of them. We went to do a lot of camping. We did a lot of cooking outdoors. And I used to do on a regular basis, go back there and get my refills. We're talking about 1-pound propane tanks. Okay. And yeah, they put a stop to that. So now in asterisk down below, it says something about 2 refills. So I'm guessing that they're really limiting this in such that because of someone like myself, I used it a lot. I guess I'm considered an abuser there. And just because I was sold one thing, right? I was sold one thing about the membership, and I was sold another thing about the propane tanks being lifetime. And that's one big reason why I also ended up spending a lot of money at Sports Basement, was because of that. So I go there a lot less. I bring people when they come into town. When I'm there, maybe they have any special sales events, so I become more like a normal person versus someone who spends a lot at Sports Basement. So if I ever do get an email like this from REI, there's a chance that I will probably spend a lot less at REI as well. But I think that they really need to do this really to just cut down on this abuse. It's ridiculous. And to make an official policy out of it. And it says it has been rolled out to 5,000 people identified as policy abusers. But depending on how much money they save or don't save, they will probably increase this number in terms of the returns. So this will be very interesting to find out a little bit more. All right, let me know if you've gotten one of these emails. I really want to know. And comment down below whether or not you think this is fair, this is unfair. I feel like this is inevitable, but do you feel like this is enough for you to stop spending money with REI? Okay, comment down below. Thanks for watching.